Another behaviour that someone might engage in to cope with stress is constructive coping. And I think you'll all probably guess that it's adaptive, as the name gives it away. It's the only truly adaptive form of coping. Constructive coping is the one I'd like to talk about the most because it's the best way to try and deal with stress. Constructive coping refers to the relatively healthful efforts that people make to deal with stressful events. Now, although constructive coping is a positive approach, it doesn't necessarily enable you to always overcome the stressor, but it's going to give you the best chance of doing it. What it involves is being realistic about the thing that's stressing you and confronting it head on. It involves being task-oriented and action-focused, so focusing on behaviours that will directly deal with the thing that's causing you stress. So if you're stressed by an assignment that's due, the type of behaviours that are task-oriented and action-focused are things like reading all the instructions in the assignment sheet, going to the tutorials and starting to write a draft, and speaking to your tutor if there's something you're not sure about. These are all task-oriented and action-focused behaviours. Constructive coping also involves having a realistic appraisal of your stress levels and what resources you have for coping with stress. So if engaging in all of these constructive behaviours doesn't help, it's important that you actually seek help. That might mean forming a peer study group. It might mean speaking to your lecturer or tutor in the case of an assignment. It might mean going to student services and getting some study tips. Or it might even mean, if you're chronically experiencing stress, seeking professional help as well. This is actually a constructive way of coping with stress. It's about getting the resources you need to be able to deal effectively with the stress. Now, this is where defensive coping can actually be functional. Sometimes it's useful to be able to inhibit those strong negative emotions. You do that via defensive coping. For example, imagine you're sitting in the exam. You look at the first question and you realise that it's addressing a part of the course that you hadn't studied. You start to feel anxious, maybe apprehensive and quite stressed. Your emotions caused by your anxiety and stress are not going to help you answer the question in the exam. These emotions are going to interfere with your ability to answer the question. Constructive coping would suggest for you to try and engage in defensive coping by pretending as though you're not being stressed by this exam. Maybe you tell yourself that the exam is not that important. It doesn't matter. Really, you're not sitting in the exam room. You're sitting in your favourite place at the beach or something like that. As a result, it's likely that your emotions relating to the anxiety and stress will reduce, and you'll be able to focus on the questions and try to do as well as you can. The important point about constructive coping and using defensive coping as part of it is that you don't keep on doing that forever. Once the exams are over, you're going to be honest with yourself and have a realistic appraisal of what your stress levels are, so that you need to get the help you need or engage in the behaviours you need to reduce stress. Defensive coping can be useful if it's done on a short-term basis to get you through whatever the stressful event is. Now, the most simple advice I can give you for how to best deal with stress in life overall is for you to eat healthily and get enough sleep. Because when you drink a lot of energy drinks or bucket loads of coffee to get through your day, excessive amounts of these chemicals disrupt your sleep patterns and also interfere with your ability to think carefully. Unfortunately, you also don't function very effectively if you're working or studying longer than 7 or 8 hours a day. So what you need to do is make sure you're not overworking yourself. If you're studying, have regular study periods, not all-night binges. Make sure you get regular sleep every night and eat well so that your immune system is functioning properly. Getting proper rest and proper food is really important for your immune system. We'll talk more about that shortly. Pretty simple advice, but it's very effective.